Have you ever felt bamboozled or cheated by a mechanic? What if there was a voice you could trust when it came to fixing your car? The Car Care Nut is a YouTube channel that has become the expert voice of reason in the often exploitative world of car repair. The Car Care Nut has reached over 275,000 subscribers and almost 25 million total channel views by being a guy you can trust to give you real information on what's wrong with your ride, how to fix it, or how much it would cost to fix. The man in front of the camera goes by Ahmed, and he is joining us today for this enlightening episode about a niche of YouTube that some didn't even know existed. Ahmed specializes in Toyota vehicles, which makes his success all the more impressive, considering he's a brand loyal man who isn't just pining for attention with whatever he thinks will get clicks. No, the Car Care Nut knows his expertise, and he is going to share with us how he's managed to make that money simply by sharing what he knows best. Ahmed, my first question. What inspired you to start this channel? What was your goal?
So initially, I started the channel, and I'll get back to exactly how the channel started, but uh, I wanted to help people. And one of the main objectives at the beginning of the channel is most people go to a dealership, and their view of entering the dealership is we're going to get robbed, basically. And in some cases, that reputation is earned, and it's true. But unfortunately, behind the person you usually talk to, which is the advisor, as the first person you walk into the dealership and talk to, there's a mechanic who actually fixes your car. Some are good, some are bad, but people never really get to hear directly from them. So I wanted to kind of bridge the gap, break the barrier, if you would, and kind of, well, here I am. I am a dealership technician and I have over 10 years of experience. Let's talk. Let me share exactly my experience, that not just my experience as, oh, the dealership is this and that. No, but here's what I've learned over 10 years working on Toyotas every single day. And honestly, the channel started in kind of an interesting way. During the height of COVID, my work hours got cut down because there was no cars, nobody was driving. So my wife has been always telling me, you should start a YouTube channel and talk about fixing cars. Life got in the way and kids and all that. I never really did, but during COVID, of course, we're sitting around bored, nothing to do. All the house projects have been done. Everything is, caught up and we're done. So I was like, okay, let's start it. I took my iPhone 10 and sat in my medium lit to low lit garage and just recorded my first video. I didn't even write a script, didn't do anything. Wrote a few notes on a computer just to make sure I go through everything and not forget anything. And I just filmed that video, and I didn't really expect that anybody was even going to watch it. I mean, to me, work when you talk about cars, you at least have a car sitting next to you or talking about it as you go through the video. I just sat and shared my what I know about these cars, how to check them. It was a specific Camry model, uh, and to my surprise, people actually started watching that video. Initially, it got a little bit of a viewership because I shared the channel with my family, with my friends, with my coworkers. It was kind of a ha moment. But then all of a sudden, I started getting comments from actual people watching the video for the sake of, hey, this is real information from a real source. And that kind of caught me by surprise. And I made the second video, I made the third video, and then it kind of, for lack of a better word, it turned my life into a little bit of a roller coaster, because now all of a sudden I realized, wait a second, there is not really a lot of people doing this, like just sharing actual life experience from working on cars directly in this format, where here, let's focus on one exact brand that I have experience with. um, the internet is full of self-proclaimed experts, and some of them are actually, but just by owning a car and potentially owning multiples of the same car, or same car in different model years, doesn't really give you the full experience. I mean, at a dealership, I work on these cars every day. I only see the sick ones. I don't see the good ones that are driving everywhere. It just gives you, working on these cars every day, specifically on one brand, gives you a different perspective on things, and you can share information that there's just no book for it. There's no some of the information I share initially when the channel was very small. I'll give you an example. People said, I've never heard about this problem, or there is no TSB for this. TSB are technical service bulletins that the manufacturer will issue for common problems. I'm like, well, yeah, they're not going to have this for every single problem, but here are some hidden stuff that people actually didn't know about. Um, and it kind of went from there, and we got to a point where the subscriber numbers were starting to climb so fast. And I tried at the beginning to answer every single comment, help people, because that was initially that was the most important thing, is that, hey, I'll share a little bit. If some people watch it, that'll be great. But all of a sudden, a lot of people were watching it. And it got to a point where, okay, I have to now branch out and start listening to what the viewers want, because now we're into 6,000. And it was a chilling moment every time I pause and think, I don't think I know 5,000 people in my entire life. So then there's 5,000 people watching. That is pretty, um, it's an intense moment. But till today, I keep my mission on just help people. I gained some experience in my life through blood, sweat, and tears, if you would. I can share it with the world to a way that benefits them. Everybody on YouTube does something. Everybody that's successful on YouTube shares something. Some of them share information, some of them share experience, some of them, even the ones that do entertainment, is still sharing something that makes people happier. And that's, I think, going into YouTube with that mentality is what made my channel work. Is that ultimately I don't look for um, self benefit, and I don't really look for just views, views, views. No, I want you to watch my video and learn something, even if you're not interested in the subject. Perhaps learn something or benefit in one way, shape, or form. Some people, and this is learning with the viewers as we go and learn what they want to watch. Some people tell me that I talk a lot and my videos are very long, but you know what? I'm a little bit on the old school side, and the background that I come from, the mechanics world. I'm gonna explain it to you my way, and I hope you get the message in the end. I'm not really watching the clock. I don't exactly script my videos. I just speak from experience, and sometimes that getting the point across on certain topics just takes a long time, and that's just how my YouTube story started.
And so, when you say your mission was to help people, I feel like that's a big reason why you do so well. Because I mean, car repair is people get very upset at dealerships, and they feel like they're getting bamboozled, and they don't really know what they're getting. It's mysterious under the hood, but you clearly know what's going on, and your intention clearly is not really to make money. It's just to be authentic and help people out. And I can tell watching your videos, like, you're there to really present information that matters and is pertinent to how to fix your car. And I think also, like, I this might sound funny, but I felt a kind of like catharsis watching your videos, because this was the first time when I saw somebody talking about car repairs and like really going into the nitty gritty details. And I felt like you were on my side, you know? Not that not that mechanics are necessarily bad all the time, but I don't know. It just, you can tell a lot of the time they're running a business. They're trying to get money. That's their main goal. And that's okay, but it can feel frustrating. Like, there was a video where you brought a car in, and you talked about this person's like horror story where they went to like 4 different mechanics and dealerships, and they were all like making things up and giving conflicting information, and you were just like going through it case by case with your pieces of paper and like sharing in the frustrations, but in like a level-headed way. And I think like there's something about the world of car repair that has needed a voice like you, where it's you're just the guy who people can trust, and you know what you're talking about. And I find it particularly interesting. So you have live streams on your channel, and these live streams are they do very well. They get like a minimum of 10,000 views, which for your subscriber numbers is super good. Like all these are very good numbers. So this tells me you are building a community within your channel. Like, people are showing up, you're interacting with them, they're asking you questions, you're giving good answers, and I mean, this niche seems very specific, but clearly it's working. So I did want to talk to you about your experience with live streaming. Have you felt that it has helped you a lot? Because some people feel it's kind of I don't know, it just doesn't really pay off, or it doesn't build the community they're looking for. Has it helped you at all?
Well, I don't look at live streams as something that helps me potentially. I look at them in a different way. So when I started the channel, I actually, if you send me an email, I'll reply to you within 24 hours, guaranteed, because I didn't get a lot of email. And if you leave a comment, I will reply to you almost within a few hours. And if you send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, I'll reply to you. But something that the viewers actually do not realize until you are kind of sitting in my shoes, when you start getting anywhere from 50 to 300 emails a day, this is not exaggerating, there has been those numbers. And then you get just countless messages on Facebook and Instagram, and anywhere from 300 all the way to 1,000 comments a day. It really requires a full-time job to respond to. And it's not, this is a conversation with my wife. It's like, well, can I help you? I'm like, you can't, because people are asking questions about their cars. So I can't really respond to everything and still be a father, be someone with a full-time job. And I had to find a better way. So that's what the live stream was born. I don't really talk about myself in the live stream. Yeah, sometimes we joke around and we talk about a few things that are going on with the channel, but the majority of the time is just to have a window for the viewers to ask their questions and get answers. I don't really look to gain anything out of it, although some of the viewers are truly generous with their donations and super chat and something like that. But I don't really look for that, because I feel like their viewership is enough for me. This live stream is for them, so they can, if they have a question, I can try to answer it right away and explain it, because I feel like I don't have another medium. Yeah, I try to get as much comments as I can. Emails are becoming really difficult lately, because emails are more in-depth and you have to write. To me, I'm not going to answer an email with 2 words and yes or no, or that's it. It just feels like half rate. If I'm either going to respond to your email fully with all the information you need, or I'm not. That I just feel like that is the way I function. So really, to answer your question, I don't seek benefit from the live stream. I seek benefit to my viewers. They're watching my channel. They're getting the information. They will have questions, and I think that's a good medium to give them that window of opportunity to ask their question, clarify something, and all that good stuff.
And so, do you find that people will be able to ask you specific questions about what's wrong with their car, and they'll actually be able to fix it themselves, or do they tend to just use this information to get a better deal when they're at the dealership or going to a mechanic? What are the main ways that people interacting with you, what do they get out of those interactions?
So the live stream, people will write their questions on the Q&A live chat, the live chat, and I'll just start from the top and start going all the way down. I usually run the live stream until my voice starts running out. Then I say, okay, guys, we're going to end it right here. Some people will ask specific mechanical questions. Some people will ask, I'm buying this car, what do you think? Some people will ask about maintenance. Some people will ask about, I have this problem with the dealership, how do I deal with it? There's all kinds of questions, and even sometimes I get non-Toyota questions. I typically try not to answer too much, because I don't like to. I'd rather tell you I don't know. I'm not afraid or ashamed to say I have no clue, because I'd rather give you a correct answer or tell you I don't know. I don't want to give you incorrect information. So that is how the live stream setup is. I try to answer as many questions. Really can't put it in one way, shape, or form. Most of them seem to be about maintenance, about my mechanic told me this. What do you think? Here's my car. Here's my mileage. I have this problem. Do you know anything common? Because working at a dealership, you work on the same cars, same problems over and over and over. So odds are when they ask, I have this problem, sometimes I'll just tell them, hey, by the way, this is a common problem. Do ABC and you're good. So that's the general outline of the live stream, how it goes.
Right on. Yeah, and sounds like you're utilizing live streams better than most YouTubers I talk to, and that's an awesome thing. Like I think interacting with an audience, it's a there's like less of a layer of separation between you and the people who watch, and that is always a wonderful thing. I think it. I mean, you're already quite humanized in your videos, like you. Yeah, in your own words, you talk a lot, and people they get a good idea of who you are. But I think that level of interactivity is very helpful. So I did want to talk about some of your biggest videos are never do this with your Toyota hybrid. Should you buy a Toyota hybrid? Why do Toyota engines consume oil? So I am curious. This is a question I like to ask people. Like, what do you think it is about the most popular videos on your channel that has made them garner more views than the other videos? Because sometimes, like, it's surprising when a video does well, or sometimes it's not. So, what is a pattern that you have noticed with these?
So the first video, actually the one that was initially doing better than the other one, the should you buy a Toyota hybrid? I remember the circumstances under which I made that video, and I don't know if this is the term, but I guess this is a term between YouTubers. It's similar to a writer's block. When you can't talk in front of a camera anymore, you get a block. I don't know if this is the term you would use. I remember very clearly that video. I filmed it once. The microphone broke halfway through the video, and I was just like, okay, this is not happening.
Fun.
It's always fun when that happens. And then I reshot it the second time, and it's still, I finished it. I am very OCD and just love the details. I watched the video. I just don't like it. I feel like, okay, people are going to watch this. They're not going to gain anything. And then I shot it a third time. It still wouldn't go. And then I was like, okay, let's forget this video. But then my wife watched some of the footage and she's like, I think this is actually good. You're just being too hard on yourself. So I took a combination of the first and second version of that video and I put it together and I'm like, this is probably one of the worst videos ever because I just didn't feel like I was giving enough value. Well, I put the video and all of a sudden it went very high views, very positive feedback. And that was the moment that I realized, wait a second, there's not a lot of actual talk about Toyota hybrids. They're only the most popular technology of cars today, but nobody talks about them in a way that here is the nuts and bolts of hybrids. And that's when I realized this, and then I kind of shifted focus. Like, this is a segment that nobody talks about, and let alone someone that can actually close their eyes and tell you exactly what's behind the scenes, because this is something I specialize in. So I started doing a lot more hybrid videos, and actually the one that has the most views was a very planned and carefully executed video because I kind of went through all the comments at the time. I don't think we had live stream at the time, but I went through all the comments and I saw that these are the topics that people ask the most questions about. So I put them all in one video and I put it out. And it did well because there is no other one like it. And I think it was the second part of a similar video. The first one, it did okay, but this one did better, I think.
And so the fact that you did not like how the video was turning out, but then your wife watches it and kind of gives you more objective feedback, I think that is a super interesting point because one of the hardest things about putting videos out is that kind of you start judging yourself a lot in ways that you normally wouldn't. I mean, being a YouTuber and editing your own videos is like, it's kind of like looking in the mirror 8 hours a day or 8 hours a week or however many hours you're putting into this. You got to look at your face every time you're putting out a video and listen to your voice. And like, it's so easy to get in your own head and hate on yourself. But I think it's a beautiful thing that you have somebody who you trust who is going to give you helpful information that is positive but realistic. And you know, the fact that you decided to combine several videos, I think was also very smart, because yeah, there were some things you didn't like about it, but you figured out a workaround. All you needed was somebody who you trusted, who could kind of be more objective to help push you over the hump, and then you were able to, you know, end up releasing one of your most popular videos. So I guess like kind of piggybacking off that, how like would you recommend as being successful on YouTube? Do you feel like just having like the basics in life and having meaningful relationships is probably more important than like any of the like kind of shallow advice you might get? Like just I don't know, having that support kind of I find is necessary to kind of keep going in this weird world. Like, would you say that like that is probably more important than, you know, SEO or thumbnails or whatever?
See, it is very important because people are always hung up on the SEO and let's get this video to get clicked on and views and views and views. Actually, in reality, watch time is actually more important. If we're going to talk about that world, watch time to me is more important than views, because you could have a video that has millions and millions of meaningless views. People just click on it, watch it for 3 seconds. It's like, nah, this is not my thing, and click off. But when you have 100 views, there are full views and potentially multiple repeats. That means you gave value to your viewers, that they watched you, listened to you all the way to the end. I think that's more important than just number of views. But something that is most people actually not think about until they're in the hot seat, and I call it the hot seat, being some people say YouTubers are famous, they have this, they have that. It's a very difficult spot because all of a sudden here's average Joe, and I still consider myself average Joe, and I think that'll never change. Here's average Joe with all kinds of scrutiny that we're not prepared, we're not
Mm.
ready to deal with. People criticize. There's a difference between people that um, criticize, or not criticize, but kind of have a meaningful conversation about their disagreement. And I actually will engage people like that, because you know what? Sometimes they will have a perspective that I will learn from, and it's great. I love that experience. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. Sometimes people will criticize you as a person to your core. And it's, as much as people say, oh, ignore it, don't worry about it, some of it will actually get to you. And if you don't have that healthy support system around you to tell you, like, don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive, it could actually end everything good that you are doing. And that's, I think it's a lot more important that you have a good support system behind you that gets you through the rough times. And putting YouTube videos and kind of continuance of YouTube videos, it's a very difficult process. I mean, there are times
Hmm.
where it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I have to wake up at 4:45 to go to work, and I'm still struggling to edit a video to put it to upload because I have a set schedule. And there are times where 5 minutes before the live stream starts, I'm just so mentally drained that I almost feel like I want to cancel. But then as soon as I start reading the chat comments, I get encouraged. And that's the second part of the community.
Hmm.
You know, I have support system at home, but I also have a support system from the viewers, that their comments and what they say, how they appreciate the content, and how at times when you feel like, okay, I'm running out of steam here, I don't know what's the next video going to be, they will ask for things, and that will kind of keep you going. So I think it revolves around community. Some channels feel like it's just one guy doing his own thing, and there's no back and forth. There's no feeling of community, that I care about you, you care about me, and let's kind of help each other. And something I noticed in my channel, um, some of the viewers, like sometimes I get comments, and I'm working, family, whatnot, and I don't get to the comments in a timely fashion. I go back and look at them. They actually started answering other people to help out. And I love that there are people who are willing to take their time to read through multi hundred comments. And when somebody asks a question, they try to help them the best that they can. That spirit is what I love to kind of encourage and build a community of people who are willing to help others.
Right. And one thing that has definitely plagued YouTubers is this idea of burnout, right? I mean, hell, you will the fact, by the way, that you are able to like work until 3 in the morning and then wake up an hour later and then go repair cars and do a good job at it is incredibly successful. Clearly, this speaks to the importance of support systems with you being able to do that. But as far as just burnout in general goes, like I actually had to take a big step back from YouTube for a couple years, and I still am kind of in that step back. But that whole time, I was really leaning on my friends and my family and people that I trusted and cared about, not just to feel better about YouTube, but I think just to like feel whole as a person. And then kind of through that process, I've felt my ability and my energy to create coming back. And I think these like it's unfortunate because part of the culture in the US can be kind of shallow. Like it just wants you to go, work. And that's okay sometimes, but if there's nothing to back it up, if there's no like real meaning in your life beyond your career, I think you're actually gonna, unless you're like a total freak sociopath, which is very rare, like you need uh, real meaningful connections to keep going. And this is something that I kind of like to touch on and stress because it's not really talked about enough, even though
Sure.
it almost seems super obvious, but at the same time it's not. So yeah, I'm glad that you have good experiences here and that you're living your best life in that regard.
Well, as far as burnout, everybody has burnout at some point, and I think that is a normal reaction to overwork or just feeling
Mm,
isolated. As I don't like to call it this, but in a po- in to a point, YouTubers are average Joes that all of a sudden became under the spotlight. And being under the spotlight when you're standing outside the spotlight looks like it's the best thing in the world. But it actually is not because you feel isolated, you feel alone, and that's how it kind of snowballs into burnout. But the way I manage my burnout is I take it as the more structured you are, I think, the more it kind of becomes because we are all structured to work. Everybody works for a living in one way, shape, or form, and nobody burns out from work unless, as long as they enjoy what they do. If you don't enjoy what you do, if you're like, okay, I have this hobby, I made a YouTube channel about it, it's successful, but then I kind of grew out of that hobby and now I'm doing something else, so this becomes a chore. Well, for me, I love working on cars.
mm.
I love cars. Um, I just enjoy what I do, genuinely. Are there moments where I wish I can roll back the time and do something else? Of course, I think that's normal. But as far as managing burnout, you need to structure it in a way that you allow yourself to have these breaks. Um, I, s- the biggest thing, and everybody says this, uh, put a set schedule for your videos, release your videos this day and this day. It helps your community. No, it actually helps you because now you know, okay, I can structure my life in a way where this is the day I'm going to film, this is the day I'm going to edit, and then I have nothing. And then this is the day I'm going to film, this is the day I'm going to edit, then I have nothing. And then you can kind of structure your life around that where it doesn't become overbearing. There are moments where this whole perfect, beautiful plan goes out the window and everything comes crashing down, but you try to work around that so to a point where it doesn't burn you out.
Yeah, and that's always the tricky thing,
Mhm.
right? Is balance, and I think it's interesting you mentioned like having structure helps, and I think that can like be unexpected, right? Because structure it kind of puts pressure on you in a way. And a certain amount of pressure, though, is very healthy, especially when you're talking about the creative realm of
Mhm.
things, right? You got to figure out what's the new video this week? What's new? Like you're creating novel ideas,
Mhm.
right, and manifesting them. But if you don't have a certain amount of pressure, you don't have a schedule, then it can be easier, in my experience
Mhm.
as well, to get burned out or to get unmotivated because you kind of like you give yourself too much time so that you end up just not doing anything or over analyzing details that don't really matter in the long run or even the short run. And I think it helps put things in perspective, you know.
Mhm.
If you like once you kind of understand your process and how long it takes to create videos, you can make a schedule and you can stick to it, and you don't have to be so worried about, do I have the energy for this? Do I not? You can kind of just like stick to your schedule
Mhm.
because you've determined that you have the time for this, and you should trust that that it has worked out. And yeah, I think just having a certain amount of order is
Mhm.
key in the chaotic realm of YouTube.
Yes, it is big time because otherwise it's just chaos. If you try to organize it out, and it's organized chaos. It's better than just chaos, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and chaos is fun. It can be, but sometimes it is very not fun and just creates anxiety and weird obsessive thoughts, and it's not worth it. It's not what you want. You want a certain amount of order, and it's probably good to tend more towards order than chaos. Um, yeah, it's I don't know. These are all very philosophical questions. I don't know how this interview got so philosophical, but here
Yes.
we are. And so I did want to mention this is our second take of this podcast because I was having microphone issues, and Ahmed has been very patient with me. And you mentioned something in that first take that I thought was very interesting, which is that the videos that you say do the best are the ones that you prepared for the
Yes.
least. Why do you think that is?
I think because sometimes you are so busy creating an image in your head. Like I think this is at least that's how it works with me. Um, I have an image like I want this video to have this look to it, and sometimes you kind of get carried away with that. That you start focusing more on the details that only you can see and nobody else cares about than
Mm-hmm.
what you're actually delivering in the video. And I notice this every time I make a video where I spend the least amount of time thinking about what I'm going to say and the least amount of time kind of preparing and set the lighting right. Let's get these beautiful angles and whatever, and just kind of turn on the camera and let's just talk. Because then you're focusing almost 100% of your energy and focus on the content, not really preparation and let's get this car here, let's try to get the camera here, let's try to show you this. It just becomes 100% focused on the content, and I think that's why it still blows my mind every time that happens. And this has been a, I mean, sometimes I will kind of put a budget for a video. Like, okay, I want to do something out of the ordinary. There or something they're requesting. Okay, I'll try to buy some parts or borrow some stuff or rent some stuff to kind of create this video. And those videos, when I have to spend actual money to make this video, this kind of becomes like, well, I hope this does well and it's beneficial because I'm really putting a lot into this. And usually they don't. And the ones that don't cost me anything, not just money, but like effort, they do the best. And it's still a
Mm-hmm.
surprise to me
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, and you said it's all if you focus on the content, then that's what's important. I think another way of putting it is focusing on your vibe, you know. If you're trying too hard to like say all the right words and you have this very specific script, but you're in front of the camera and you're trying to stick to the script, people
Yes.
notice. They can tell that you're trying too hard or that you're closed off in some way instead of just like opening your heart and just saying it. And that it's counterintuitive, right? You would think, well, if I put all this effort in and I have this perfect script and I say all the perfect words, then everything's going to be great. But I think the element here is charisma and saying what you believe and what you're trying to get across with conviction. And that's probably the most important thing when it comes to being in front of a camera and a microphone, is just being somebody who seems like they should be there and that they know what they're talking about and they're not just reading. Would you agree that's
I
probably the biggest element of all
I
this?
completely agree, and something that I do when I film my sitting down and talking videos. Usually, some of the video ideas I get from my viewers. They ask about a topic over and over and over. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's time to make a video about this. I usually pick one viewer that I keep in mind, and I remember their username. And as I'm talking to the camera, I kind of set my mind into, okay, I am talking to this person, not talking to a camera, not talking to a
Mm,
large audience. I'm talking to a single person, because then it becomes, and at least I hope my viewers see this or feel this, but to me, it feels like we're having a conversation. We're like two buddies sitting down and we're just having a conversation. It feels natural. If I script things, and I've tried, I have one video that I will probably never tell my viewers which one it is, that was scripted word by word. It did okay,
oh wow.
but I wanted to try it. You know what? Because some people said you need more. I read everything, good and bad comments, and probably it was one or two comments. You need to script your videos. You ramble too much. Well, you know what? That's who I am. I'm just gonna say what I have to say. But uh, so I tried it. I'm like, you know what? Let's try it. See how it works. Well, the video was exactly the same length as usual because that's how long it takes to get the information across, and it was probably one of my biggest nightmares because reading an entire 20-minute video off a script is very difficult. It's not easy. I'm not an actor. I am not, some of this. I'm just a mechanic. So it's very difficult and it takes a lot. And it was too much effort, too much um, time spent. And the result was the same, say, or same length video as average. And it felt robotic. It just felt like I was a newscaster reading off of a screen underneath the camera. I didn't like it, and the feedback I got was it just felt robotic. It didn't feel like my typical style of videos where I turn on the camera and let's have a talk.
Right. And I do find some of the best things I'll say in front of the camera are things I thought of on the spot. There's something about the intuition that is really good at coming up with things like that. Sometimes it is helpful to just kind of sit in a dark room and type or whatever. But funny enough, if you're able to like kind of fall into the state of mind of just like, all right, I'm talking, this is how it goes, everything's great, or at least it's good enough, then you're able to, I think, access the part of you that is very clever and that is witty and that isn't overthinking things. And it's just like, you're saying what you think is funny, what is interesting, what is relevant. It's coming up, it's bubbling up, and that's the part of you that you want to be accessing the most. I think for people that can be scary because then you're not thinking before you're speaking, which can be, whoa, that could be dangerous,
Yes.
huh? But also remember, there is editing software. There's a process where, hey, maybe if you say something stupid or you just there's too long of a pause, you can cut it out.
Yes.
That's
That's the best
okay.
part.
And just like, yeah, like I know of YouTubers who their whole process involves only doing one take, because if they do more than one take, then they end up hyper focusing on details, trying to get things just right. And yeah, maybe if you redid that one take, you could make that one section better. But when you look at the process as a whole, then you are flowing with it more. You're just kind of accepting things as they are. And in turn, you end up creating something better in the long run than if you were, obsessing about silly details that may or may not actually matter.
They actually would not matter because um, my older videos that were, to me at least, in my opinion, now going back to look at them, I try not to as much as possible, but Um, I see them and I'm
I
like,
know the
how do
feeling.
people watch this? The camera is cloudy, the colors are not right, la 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 la. But you know what? People don't care because they're not there to look at my ugly face. They're there to get the information. And the information is still getting across, and that's what matters the most. Uh, I think people, now let's talk about the YouTube community. I think they spend way too much time focusing on the little details, and they at some point they start to detach from what really matters. What kind of message, what kind of content are you delivering, what kind of benefit are you giving the viewer? I mean, a good laugh or entertainment is a benefit. People, they have tough lives, things are hard, people sometimes just need a good laugh. That is also a benefit. But I've done this. I'm pretty sure everybody's done this. We kind of seem to self sabotage to get away from that important thing. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter if the editing seems amateurish. It doesn't matter if the colors are not right, the light's not right. This doesn't look right. There is, I don't know, spilled can of pop next to you in the background. You didn't see it. It doesn't really matter because people don't. There's maybe one or two viewers will see it and make a joke about it, but it's not the end of the world. It's what you're getting across that matters the most. Um, in my experience, I am a little bit okay. When I say a little bit, that's not right. I am OCD a lot, and I tend to, just by nature, I look into the details. Even the way I fix cars, even the way I do everything, I just love the details of things. Um, I do tend to gravitate towards kind of perfection in how I make my videos and all that, but I have to fight it off sometimes. But I also feel like over time I put it as a goal. Okay, we every quarter let's improve one thing that I feel like we're lackluster, and we'll give ourselves 3 months of improvement time. It's not going to happen overnight, and we're not going to stress over it, but we're going to try to meet that goal. Some of the goals is limited by equipment. Some of the goals is limited. Well, actually, when I say some, most of the goals are limited by my lack of experience editing and doing video stuff. So I kind of put myself another challenge, which is I can go and hire an editor. Yes, it would make my life a lot easier, but I feel like I think I could benefit from this experience, editing my own videos, learning how to do all this stuff, watching 200 YouTube videos on how to color correct a video and how to edit audio. It is also experience for me that I actually enjoy doing. One of the most joyful parts about making my videos is actually the editing. I really enjoy it. Um, I'm not good at it, but hey, it's fun and I enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's amazing that you enjoy editing. I feel like a lot of people can't say that. I feel like I probably used to enjoy editing, like when I first started doing it. I think now I've just done so much of it that it's I don't know, not that I hate it, but it can feel like a bit of a job sometimes, bit of a chore. Um, and I don't know, that's the YouTube struggle, and I could complain about it all day, but I won't, and I definitely won't. So you did say that you're a little OCD, you're a little obsessive about details. I am curious. So have you looked at your YouTube analytics, kind of looking at audience retention on videos, and like basically, have you looked at analytics, and in what ways have you kind of shifted based on that information?
Honestly, okay, to make a long story short, I look at analytics. I have no clue what's what, and I just keep making videos. Because when you start looking at analytics, now you're diving into a whole world of things. Okay, the view duration. Well, the view duration is really, if you kind of dig deeper into it, how many people finish watching a video on YouTube? And when I say how many people, me and you, we all watch YouTube too. You watch a video, the video ends, and the next video starts automatically, and you just click off. Well, you just gave that person a 3 second view duration that lowers their averages. So it's kind of, I look at three things actually. The first one is watch time overall. Is this video 30 minutes long and it has very low watch time? Or not, sorry, not the what when I say watch time, I think I've used this word a couple times. Like viewer retention, there's a chart that gives you What are you falling below
Right.
average? Are your regular viewers watching this video above, below average? I try to look at the parts that they watch the most, the topics. If there is multi-topic video, I try to take that topic and kind of put it on a list on the side and try to revisit that topic in the next 6 months because that's a topic they're very interested in. And the other thing I look at is what time of day is best for them. When are they available to watch my videos? Like sometimes I feel like the randomness of videos really doesn't help because, and I notice sometimes I'll drop a random video just to test to see how it responds. It really does affect the video, even though YouTube says it doesn't. It does because people are expecting your video. It's kind of like that mentality of watching a series on TV. You know, it comes on Wednesday night at 7, 8 o'clock. You programmed your life around it in a way. At least that's my theory in my head. And I feel like the viewers are the same way. They're kind of anticipating that your video is going to drop at this moment. They will wait for it, they will watch it, and go on with their life. So I try to experiment with different times. Do we have a better time to get that video out where there is majority of the viewers are available to watch it? And the last thing, and this is to me the top number one thing, comments. Because if you don't listen to your audience long enough, you're going to lose them. And that's not really a good thing. I think the biggest, most important feedback that you can get is your audience because they're the ones that are watching you. YouTube is not watching you. The SEO, the algorithm is not watching you. The how long 3 views got you doesn't. You need to talk to your actual human beings that are watching your video, not just look at the numbers, be so consumed by them. I think you need to get to know your audience. What do they say about your content? Do they like this? Do they dislike this? Do they think this guest that you had was a good guest to have? They felt like they got good information, or no? If no, sorry guest, but the audience didn't like it. So I love you, but let's not do this again. Or a certain topic. Like one time, and I've learned this through my time on YouTube, I will never do a topic that has to do with a little bit of politics, a little bit of people's emotions. Sometimes a company will do something and people will like kind of ask me, hey, would you make a comment about this? Well, sometimes people are riled up. They're upset. They're upset about something a company did. And that kind of becomes less about the information, more about we're hurt. And I don't like to deal with people's emotions. I feel like that is not my place. I just talk about cars, how to fix them, how they work, and that's about it. I don't like to get into the hot topics, if you would, even though they will get hundreds of thousands of millions of views. But you know what? They will benefit your viewer nothing. You will just get random viewers from all over the place that are not actually your community, and that's what that's what I really care about the most is the comments. That's why reading them is very important. I try my best, dedicate a significant amount of time that I feel like a lot of people on YouTube that make videos do not because you get to know your viewers by their name. Sometimes I even remember what kind of car and year and model they have because you have that community. You know what? I am putting this effort to make this video, and you know the video is monetized. I am getting paid for it. That there's no shame in that. And we were talking about business earlier. There's nothing wrong with business and making a profit. That's okay. But at the same time that I am making the videos, they are watching it. So if I don't make the video, they have no information to look at. If they don't watch, then it becomes unfeasible to me to spend this amount of time, this amount of energy to do them in this consistent fashion without getting some kind of compensation for my time. And that's where the balance lies. Again, that community is the most important thing on YouTube.
And so, how do you differentiate between comments that are worth listening to and ones that are not? Because you mentioned that some people, they criticize you for talking too much or for rambling too much, but you kind of brush it off and you keep doing your thing. So how do you continue to move forward with constructive criticism while kind of rejecting the criticism that you just don't think fits?
It's very simple. When when your viewers watch your video and they don't like it, what do? They put a thumbs down. When you read their comment and you don't like it, put a thumbs down and move on. Because you know what? If you focus on the negative only, you just bypassed all the positive. You gotta try to stay positive, because I read 10 comments that are all thank you for this information, or thank you for this video. Hey, I have a quick question or clarification about something that I didn't understand, whatever the case may be. You read 10 of those and you answer, you interact. Then you get to one video. Hey, I don't like your hair. I mean, are you really going to take away attention from the 10 people that you've just interacted with and focus on the one, and then you get upset and ignore the next 50 that are actually nice or they're asking for help? You That's where you take kind of make priority. The first time it happens, it's gonna crush you. It's gonna be the end of the world to you, because it's like, oh my god, I put all this work and this guy is just ripping me apart. And that's okay, but eventually, as time goes by and you gain a little bit of thicker skin, more experience, and you tend to kind of deflect and dodge. When someone has constructive criticism, when somebody says I talk too much, well, that's how I am. I can't change that, so sorry, but I'm not sorry, and I just move on. When people have constructive criticism about um, the topic that we're talking about, okay, I disagree with you because of ABC. Actually, I will engage comments like that because we are having a friendly conversation. It's not about being right or wrong, it's about let's discuss this. And that's a different, I don't see that as a negative comment. But focus your energy on, at least that's my strategy. I focus my energy on the positive, not the negative.
And that is very smart, especially because the positive people, they like you, and there's things about you that they like, and I think it's good to focus on that and kind of hone that and own that. And if you're trying to change yourself too much to become somebody who is avoiding haters, then you kind of end up pleasing no one. I mean, you end up becoming this weird version of yourself that is just trying to not be hated instead of just being you. And I think leaning into things that you're good at, like for instance with you, like you're good at filling the air and talking and keeping the conversation going. And some people, maybe the way they talk, it makes more sense for them to be super concise and to only say like a sentence or two, and that works for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think part of it too, like with knowing what criticism to listen to and what not to, is also just kind of knowing who you are and what you like to do and what you're good at, and just kind of knowing that if you deviate too far from what you like and what you're good at, then you're gonna end up not being successful, and you could end up, killing the goose that laid the golden egg, and all kinds of things that you really don't want to happen. That ironically you're trying to make sure they don't happen, but then you end up manifesting that, and then it's it's not a fun story, for sure.
Yeah, I look, there are moments, and I even I have a name for those days. I have days that it's like, okay, this is the angry people day. You get a day where it's like, I am not joking, 50% of the comments are negative, and it just happens to be that way. But you know what? Um, the glass is still half full. It's up to you to look at the half full or the half empty. So it really is, you have to put yourself in a mindset where focus on why you're doing this, not what select people are saying. Because usually when I look at the names, and this is why it helps to really know your community. You can never know all of them, but you'll know those that always comment and they're vocal about their opinion. um, you'll get to know them where you can distinguish, wait a second, I've never seen this person before that left this ugly comment. And I will sometimes investigate just to kind of see, click on their name and see, did they comment on any of my other videos? If they haven't, perhaps this is just someone passing by. Well, I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
shut down the whole shop just because of one person who is passing by who didn't like what they see. You can't make everybody happy. You know, that has to be something high on the priority list. You can't make everybody happy. Somebody will bound to disagree with you, and that's okay. Everybody has an opinion. If we all had the same opinion, the world would be black and white. We all live in the same house, drive the same car, and have the same job. So that's another thing. Coming to acceptance with not everybody's going to agree with you, not everybody's going to be happy by what you're doing.
Definitely, and that is fantastic advice. And so the last question I have for you is a lot of people, they want to use YouTube to kind of promote something else. Like YouTube is almost more of a front for something else. So my question is, how has YouTube affected your day job, so to speak? Do you get more customers because of YouTube with where you work, or do you kind of try to avoid that in general? Like you don't want to mix the worlds. How has that been for you?
So I actually I don't mind working on people's car that come through the channel because um, they trust me. They see my videos and they built that trust over watching me on the internet. And you know what? I do this for a living, so if somebody comes in, I do this with my viewers or anybody else. Like, you're gonna get the same kind of service. I'm just, I think we touched about this briefly, but I think automotive repair has a bad name, and sometimes it is earned, unfortunately. I think if automotive repair shops or dealerships or whatever the case, if they all became honest and this is something I always tell my viewers very openly. I am just that kind of person. What's on my mind, I'll say it, and whatever happens, happens. If your car needs $7,000 worth of repair, it needs it, then it needs it. But if your car doesn't need $1 of repair, then it doesn't need it. It's not about the amount. It's about, do you need it or do you not? Is this a priority or is it not? So I think that mindset of how I approach car repair have brought a lot of people through the channel and actually outside the channel as well. They want me to work on their cars, and I do that. My dealership doesn't mind the place where I work. Uh, they don't mind it. They see it as interesting how people come asking for a specific person that they've never known before in real life. They met them, they not even met them, but saw their videos online. They want that person to work on, but they're okay with it. They really haven't um, approached me in any way, shape, or form about, oh, let's do some promotion, whatever. Sometimes I've filmed inside the dealership, and I told them, you're not a sponsor or anything, and I put it in the video, but I'm filming inside your dealership. I'm going to say thank you for allowing me to film in your dealership. I think that is fair because it's their facility and they're paying a ridiculous amount of money to keep the lights on. So, but otherwise, I don't really um, like we were talking about promotions and what. I don't really get in that world. Um, I don't like sponsorships. I don't like none of that stuff because I just feel like sponsorships are a double-edged sword. Yes, as a creator, sometimes you need that extra income because um, you could have quit your full-time job and you're doing this full-time, and sometimes things get rough. But at the same time, it kind of takes your, at least in my opinion, it takes your freedom out from just saying whatever's on your mind. And people look at it as, well, today this brand paid you X amount of money to say ABC about them. Who's to say the brand you are talking about will not do the same? And that's kind of, at least in the automotive world, that's how it works because we already have people are cautious. People are in caution when they listen to a mechanic or anything to do with automotive repair. So by adding sponsorships and all that, now it takes it to the next level where people are like, okay, I don't trust this person. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Like you don't want to come across as a sellout or like somebody who's more interested in money than they are in actually sharing useful information. I've when I was full-time doing YouTube, I definitely made that mistake for sure, where, I needed to pay the bills and maybe took some sponsorships that, not that, like, I never did any sponsorships that were bad, but I think if you aren't careful about what you cover, then you can end up diluting your original message and then end up losing your audience and then end up really not getting what you wanted anyway, which, whether it's money or just success or helping people or whatever, you're going to end up not getting that if you aren't sticking to what is true to yourself.
True. Very true.
All right. He has been the car care nut. He is the guy you can trust most to give you information about how to fix your car, specifically your Toyota. Ahmed, why don't you tell people where they can find you, follow you, anything that you want to promote, go for it.
Well, if you have a Toyota, Lexus, or Scion, my channel is on YouTube, The Car Care Nut. I also have a second channel that recently launched, The Car Care Nut Remix. That's the channel where I'll talk about other brands other than Toyota and Lexus. And you can follow me on Instagram, some sneak peeks behind the scenes, and on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.